there. Welcome to All Things Savannah, the weekly show that we do on YouTube here. And we just tell stories about Savannah, the people, the places, the things that make this such a cool city to be in and live in. Today we have a very special guest. I mean, really, we always have special guests,
We do.
don't we?
We do.
We do.
Right.
Actually, we do. But today we've got a terrific guy named Laszlo, and he's from Serbia. I'm going to read his little bio here. His last name is Lozovic. Is
That's
that
right.
correct?
That's right.
Okay. He's with the Georgia Rotary Student Program as an exchange student from Serbia. Welcome to All Things Savannah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
It's great to talk about this great program to
Yes,
anyone, really.
yes.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you here, and we should tell people why you're here. You know,
Right.
you're here being hosted, I guess, by the Rotary. Let's talk a little bit about your involvement and how this came about. So let's take us back a little bit here, because you've been here since August, is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. I came here in August, but the application started way earlier. I think it's fall 2022 that I really needed to apply.
Oh, okay.
I learned about the program from Rotarians from USA that came to Serbia because of friendship exchange. My parents are Rotarians, so they were basically hosting
Okay.
Americans in our homes, and
I
one
see.
a nice lady that's off camera right now, but she's here. Trust
Marjorie
me.
Young, we can mention her.
Marjorie
Yeah,
Young
Marjorie's a
with
good friend of the show.
Carriage trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, one nice day she walked into my living room because she was hosted by my parents, and she told me about this great program in Georgia, that's specifically in Georgia, and it should be a nice thing. You should check it out. And I said, yeah, I'll think about it. And 1 year later,
Here
boom, I'm
you
here.
are, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic.
So it
I love
happened.
that. So Rotary has some really cool elements about it. I'm actually just learning about Rotary.
Me too.
Through Marjorie, actually. And it's got 7 principles. I'm not going to be able to name them all, but I know that one of them is friendship, and I think one is peace as well. Isn't that correct?
Even if
So-
those are the only two, those are
even
really
those,
important.
yes, exactly.
right.
And so those are sort of the main things that you're bringing along with you, and this whole interchange between other countries where Rotary is present. But I did not know that Rotary was in Serbia.
Yes, there is many clubs of Rotary in Serbia. I live in a town called Pančevo, which is near to the capital. In the capital, there's more Rotary clubs because it's a bigger city, but there's also clubs in smaller towns like
What is the
my own.
capital of Serbia?
It's called Belgrade.
Belgrade.
Yes.
And so the initial steps on the sort of the relationship, as I understand it from Marjorie, began with what they call these M-bots, these mini robots or drones that were part of a tech program, I guess that was partly sponsored or sponsored by the Rotary. Have I got that right?
Yes, I think it was sponsored by Rotary clubs from Georgia specifically.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Yes.
what was that meant to do? Do you know
It
how
was
that?
it was the whole to provide the bots for elementary or middle school students, I believe, that wanted to learn about new technologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, some of the technologies there may not be like they are in other places, right?
Yes, but those robots are something I think not every school has in Serbia, and I think that's a great way to get those kids more interested in
I was
Sure.
going to say, yeah, get these
Yeah.
kids exposed to some technology and
Yeah.
doing some new things.
Yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
fantastic.
Other
And
than traditional
you
education.
end up coming here. So let's bring this to August. You're coming here. You're staying with a host family.
Oh
no,
yeah.
no, I thought you were staying in a dormitory.
At first,
Oh.
I came before the semester started. I came in August 1st, but dorms opened, let's say, on 6th. So my host parents took me in, and I lived with them for some time before I moved into dorms, and
I
they
see.
helped me to move in and everything. So, and the stuff that we move into dorms was basically collected from all the previous GRSPs. So
Oh.
the equipment is already there. The bed sheets, everything's there. I just need to move in.
And when you say GRSPs, that's the term which has to do
Yes.
with the Georgia portion of the Rotary program,
Georgia
right?
Rotary
Yes.
Student Program.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. So you're experiencing the United States Western culture.
Oh, yeah.
Is this the first time you've been here?
Yes, I've
Oh.
never left Europe in my life.
Okay.
Yes.
The term we would use is culture shock, but I don't know if that applies. Are you stunned by what you see, or is it interesting, or what does it mean to you? And
Yeah.
tell us about the experiences.
It is interesting for sure. I wouldn't say the European culture is too different to American culture. There's still kind of like a brotherly relationship, should I say. Um, but some things that fascinated me was or was a culture shock. The car culture was much different than back home, for
The car
example.
culture?
Yes, and I just didn't really grasp how big United States was before because I just saw it on the map. I didn't really. I
Right.
had no idea to get anywhere from Savannah. You really need 3 hours at least of
Yeah.
You're
car
right about
drive.
that.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things that really shook me, how big it was.
So the car culture, do you mean like well, first of all, probably how dependent we are on cars, how necessary it is to have a car, but also how about the range of different types and models, and was that interesting at all to you, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's more electrical cars. Electrical
Oh.
cars are not really a thing back home.
Really?
But especially my country, I cannot advocate for all of the rest of them. There's some countries that are more into that kind of development in Europe, and some
Right.
less.
Right.
So another element that comes through while we're talking about motorized vehicles is we have been told that you like monster trucks.
Oh yeah, that's true. I do like monster trucks. That's one of the American experiences I wanted to talk about for real.
Yes.
So give us the lowdown on the monster truck.
Oh
feed.
yeah, so I went to the monster truck show basically the first week I've been here. So they really brought out the big guns immediately. And then I went on a rodeo right after that. Yes. And both of those are something we don't really do back home.
I guess
and
not, no.
that's for sure.
So those
All
two
America.
experiences, yeah, absolutely, definitely Americana
Yeah.
for sure. Also, though, talking about sort of divergent interests, you happen to like music, as a lot of young people do.
Oh, yeah.
What's a little different, maybe, is that most people in their early 20s maybe have not caught on to opera. But you
Oh,
have
yeah.
seen an opera while you were here.
Oh yeah, that's right. I went to an opera once here in Savannah. I don't remember the name of the place. I don't remember the details, but it was an opera for sure. And I never really went on any. I went to a normal theater back home, theater place and whatnot, but not operas. That's for sure. That was interesting experience.
Well, I'm wondering, it's not that you're coming from a sheltered family. We understand your parents are professionals.
Yeah.
So discuss a little bit about what Serbia looks like and feels like to people who live there. What's life like?
Life. I mean, Serbia is a country of 7 million people, so it's a pretty small country. But the capital has 1.5 million people that live in.
Large city.
So a good portion of people who live in Serbia live in the capital and are accustomed to normal city life. And the rest of Serbia, I think, is one of the biggest things in Serbia is probably agriculture. And agriculture and some kind of industries, but I'm not too sure of what exactly it is. But agriculture is a big part of our nation for sure. So it's
So-
kind of a combination.
Okay.
So that sounds like, if you go back to Serbia, maybe you could get a big truck, monster truck thing started with all the farming trucks.
Yeah.
I think
This could be your new calling, Marko.
I think people would
This is
appreciate that.
educational and career consultant Danielle
Career
Oak talking
Yeah.
with you, giving
Yeah.
you some guidance.
I think people would really enjoy that trunk space. That's for sure. Yeah. But our roads are not as wide as American roads. And for example, in my city, I would never find a parking spot for any of those cars.
Tighter, right?
There's no way.
Yeah.
True.
There's
You
no
can't
way.
find a parking space here either sometimes. That's the way it is.
You are watching All Things Savannah, and we are recording from the Bluff Hotel on 630 West Bay Street. And yes, I got it right. Excellent. Ooh. And we're speaking with Marko, and let me get the last name correct, Lozovic.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You addressed the local Rotary Club here in Savannah just a couple of days ago as we record this.
Yes, yes,
That, again, you're 22, right?
yes.
I mean, how
I'm
many people really get to address a Rotary Club or any club?
Yeah, true.
At 22, most folks are not doing that. Tell us about your address. What were you talking about? What were the messages?
So the idea of the speech was to give this speech that is kind of summarizing all of my experiences in America. It's supposed to be a farewell speech in a way. So I was to talk about everything I experienced in U.S., everything I would like to really express, places I've been, what I've seen, what I experienced, all of that. And also I wanted to thank the Rotary Club for giving me that opportunity to be in U.S. For such occasions, and for host parents as well. That's one of the big stuff.
So just so everyone understands, Marko is here for school. He is actually in classes. So you are at what university right now?
Georgia Southern Armstrong campus.
Okay.
Beautiful place.
And what are you studying?
Back home, I'm a business administration major, but here I do not take any major. I do not declare anything. I just take classes that I feel like I should take, what is in my interests. So I took some supply chain classes this semester, public speaking, because I public speak a lot, it seems. And also I took leadership classes and whatever that's sort of related to what I'm doing back home as well.
What kind of an impact has Savannah had on you? You've been here long enough to sort of get to know the people, the culture, the place. What do you think?
I think that Savannah is one of the. I think that if I didn't stay in Savannah, in the United States, the experience would be completely different. Savannah is very historical city, and I love the downtown. I love the architecture, and I like the history of it as well. And it surely impacted me in many ways. For example, seashore life. My country is landlocked. We don't have any sea. And Savannah is just right there. So going out on Tybee or any burial island is something you cannot normally do. It's very interesting to me.
It's also quite hot here a lot of the year. Is that a thing that bothers
Right,
you, or
came
different from where
in
you're coming
the
from?
hottest month.
Yeah, August,
Yeah.
right?
But Serbia is pretty hot.
Is it?
While
Is
we're
it?
talking right now, yesterday was more than 90 degrees, I think,
Oh,
in our capital. We have very hot summers, so the heat is not a new
Not a
thing to me.
shock, yeah.
But the humidity is what really gives the weight. That's for sure. In August, I really had trouble to get adjusted because inside there's a very sharp air conditioning, and outside it's so hot.
Extremes. Right, exactly. That's what
Yeah.
we are. We're extremes. And in fact, if you look at the weather and you've been here long enough to experience it, we can start our days in the 30s in the temperature, and we can be in the afternoon at about 80, 85, depending on time of year. So it is, and it's frequently a roller coaster ride.
Yes.
Now, the town that you live in, is it a historic town? Is it bigger than Savannah or larger?
My town is very close to Belgrade,
Okay.
and it's like 30-minute ride. In American standards, it's basically living in Belgrade. But it is a historic city as well. It has its own historical part, but it's not as. It has around 100,000 people in total, I think. It's less historic than Belgrade because it's just a smaller town, but it has its own history. It's located in flatlands, and the style of living is much different than in Belgrade because in Belgrade everything's fast. As if comparing, let's say, a city like Atlanta and Savannah as well. In Atlanta, I think at least that living is sort of quicker when business is happening there. And Savannah is sort of like, yes, business is happening in Savannah as well, but the lifestyle is kind of more leaning back and
So when you were talking a moment or two ago, you were talking about the elements of Savannah that really are interesting. You know, the history and seashore and so on. If you were recommending to people going to Serbia, what should they see? What should they do? What should they take in? What should their trip be about?
The trip should be. There's a lot of historic stuff in Serbia as well. Serbia is very rich in history. It's a very old nation as well. And I think, for example, if they would visit capital, I think the downtown is full of rich architecture. It's a good mixture between old and new. We had a different times in history. I really like that aspect of our city. But the thing I think is the best about my country is the people, for sure, because they're very hospitable people. They like foreigners, and they really, if you get to meet Serbian friends and people in general, I think you're gonna have a good time. Partying as well. Partying is a very big part of our culture, and I think those are the three greatest things about my country, for sure.
Fantastic.
I think you wanted to ask about the food, didn't you?
Yes.
Specifics?
Well,
Oh, I
first of all, I want to ask if you've had shrimp and grits.
Yes,
Oh,
I
here.
did. I had shrimp and grits.
What did you think?
They're great. I love grits and I like shrimp. So it
Excellent.
That's not everybody,
brings them
you know,
together.
is natural to that.
No.
But we acquire the taste pretty quickly.
How about collard greens? Have you had collard
yeah,
greens?
we eat something very similar to
Do you?
collard greens.
Okay.
Yes, all the time. Like all sort of wild cabbages stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ah,
home cooked dishes. It's
Right.
it's not that similar, but it's similar.
So it's. I was just thinking that the cuisine is cucina povera, I think is what the Italians say, which is. It's roughly speaking poor people's food, but basically making do with what you've got, what's
Right.
available to you.
Yeah.
I think every culture has their own version of what's a significant dish or a signature dish in Serbia from your part of the country.
That's the part that I forgot.
Oh.
Food is one of the best things in Serbia,
Okay.
for sure. And going to restaurants and eating food, and also home cooked options of food, are one of the greatest stuff about our country. One of the
Okay.
most popular dishes, I think it's called pasulj, or çorbas pasulj, which basically is a bean stew
Okay.
that we love to eat in Serbia. Our neighboring countries are sometimes even making fun of us because we eat beans so much. And I think that most of the Serbians that would be watching this would relate to this heavily. Also,
They know it. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
also, Serbian barbecue is a big thing. Eating barbecue and a lot of meat. Meat is meat and cheese as well as
Type of meat? What type of meat is popular?
all sorts of
All
it.
of it?
Beef,
all of it.
pork.
Yeah.
I can't really say both pork, beef, chicken. They're also all of them are very good. Serbian barbecue is something very special about it, and it's also decently cheap if you eat in fast food. It's also an option for tourists. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, you are watching All Things Savannah, and we are recording here from the Bluff Hotel, which is at 630 West Bay Street in downtown Savannah. All right, so I want to ask Marko about just being 22. You've gotten to do some pretty cool things. You're here living for a year. That's unique. What's your view on the future? What do you think? For yourself.
Not
You don't
not
have
an
to go-
insignificant
You don't
question.
have to go world future, but just what are you gonna do?
That's a hard
Do you
question.
think you'll come? Do you need to finish your degree in
Yes,
Serbia? How many more years is that for you?
I've got one more year
Oh,
of
okay.
basic studies, elementary studies in my university back home.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, because of this Rotary program, I met a lot of people like me that came through Rotary here. And I met so many international friends, so many, that my travel bucket list got so piled up
Overflowing.
that I honestly, I think I'm gonna travel a lot more
Yeah.
to
Good
visit
idea.
those friends, and I really formed some of the friendships that I like. So
That's super.
that left a big impact on my life, for
And
sure.
that is really the great thing about doing this, right?
Yes.
It is something that's going to be life changing. It is life impacting, life changing.
Absolutely.
And what other languages do you speak? So, obviously English.
Yeah, I speak English, a bit of German, Serbian as well. Those are my three languages that I speak. But the thing with Serbian language, because people from America are typically not familiar with all of our languages because there's a lot of countries
Right.
out there. So my language is pretty similar to four other languages. It's called Croatian, Bosnian, Montenegrin. They're pretty much the same languages, and I think they're very much understandable between each other. So in total, it has around 20 million speakers. So
Oh wow. Okay.
that's a fun fact.
Fun fact,
Wow.
yes. So, do you see yourself maybe for the next couple of years staying in Europe, or take? You know what? A lot of university students take a gap year. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. So they take about a year, and they travel and just sort of see the world, and then they sort of embark on their careers. Do you see maybe doing something like that?
Uh, After I graduate, I'm looking to enter a master's program.
Okay.
And for a gap year, I'm not certain if I would do that exactly, but I would like to travel,
Right.
no matter if I would take a gap year or not.
Right,
honestly.
right. That's
Every
a
chance I
priority,
have,
right.
yes. That's for
Well,
sure.
boy, I'll tell you, if you choose nothing else in your career, you could be a broadcaster. You've got the voice for it. I just want to tell you that, you know, as a fallback, I'll just give you some advice. Not a bad idea.
Thank you.
So, would you go back home and tell people that they've got to come to Savannah, Georgia, a place they've never heard of, but would it be worth their while?
Yes, absolutely. And not only would I encourage them to come to Savannah, Georgia, I would encourage students like me to apply for this program as well, because this is an experience that I think the value cannot be really expressed on me just saying that it's valuable to people. It's such a great experience. Every aspect of it is just very, very enchanting and very interesting.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, so
Very
are you.
cool.
So are
Yes.
you.
Thank
You're
you so
enchanting and you're
much.
interesting and you're a bright young
Yes.
guy with a bright future, no doubt. And we are so glad that you spent some of your day with us today.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck
you for
to
having me.
Whatever you do.
Sure, yes. So this makes me want to Google Serbia and Google Rotary and start doing my own research on both of those
Good
things.
idea.
I don't know about you.
I do.
but-
I'm always interested. It always is a thread you pull on to find out more.
Exactly. So we want to thank you for being with us. We also want to thank our tech team. We've got Maria, Talia,
Yes.
and Riley, and they are instrumental in bringing this whole thing to fruition. So we want to make sure that we thank them for their work for us.
And next week, another deep dive into the culture and history and people of the city of Savannah on All Things Savannah. Thanks so much for joining us. We've had a great time. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Bye.